You're now listening to the Engage the Rockies podcast, your go-to podcast for local and state issues concerning Colorado.
Hello, Rockies. This is Sarah Jane Maroney, your host for Engage the Rockies, your go-to podcast concerning local and state issues for Colorado. Welcome to our interview. Today we'll be speaking with Roger Lovell. He is the building official for the Pikes Peak Regional Building Department and a native of Colorado Springs. He obtained a degree in architectural engineering from the University of Wyoming and is a licensed engineer. He started his career with regional building in 2002 as a plans examiner and was selected for the position of the building official in 2015. Roger married his wife, Hallie, in 2003, who is also a Colorado Springs native, and they have two children, 18-year-old son Parker and 16-year-old daughter Taylor. Roger enjoys spending any free time outdoors and is an avid off-road racer. We welcome him. Hello, Roger. Welcome.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Thank you for coming along. So I guess I genuinely didn't know what regional building is. So could you start there?
Happy to. Regional building is actually a very interesting concept. All municipalities and jurisdictions have a building department, but the Pikes Peak Regional Building Department was formed in 1966 between the city of Colorado Springs and El Paso County as a joint building department. And then later, 5 other jurisdictions came on board, all in El Paso County. And then later on, we also service the city of Woodland Park. So being a regional building department, we have the ability, the goal in 1966 was to streamline codes across the borders so that the same code requirements applied wherever you were in El Paso County. And that helps save a considerable amount of money on resources, and also it makes it easier for contractors and homeowners as the same set of rules applies everywhere.
And how long have you been doing this?
I have been with regional building since, I believe, 2001. I'm sorry, 2001. Little difference there.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yes, it does. It does.
And as a little boy, this is what you wanted to do when you grew up?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I never knew. Actually, it's a very interesting story about how I ended up here. I grew up in Colorado Springs. I didn't know anything about the building department. I knew I wanted to be an engineer. So I went to school and I got my engineering degree and my engineering license. And once I graduated from college, I purchased my first house. Being someone who likes to work on things myself, I did a lot of work on my house. I tried to put in a wood stove and I did it all wrong. And the building department was the most miserable thing that I'd ever worked with. And at the time, I told myself I'd never work with the building department again. Fast forward a couple of years and a position came open at the building department, and something in me thought, maybe I'll give it a shot. So that experience that I had back in the late 90s, I think really kind of shaped my desire to try and make the department as user-friendly as possible. And as I've been building official since 2015, that's what I've worked very hard to do.
And you're sure that no one else is going to have the same problems you had back then?
I'm not sure, but I remember that. And when we hire people, we try and hire them with the soft skills to help people through those situations and make it as easy to get through the process as possible.
So if someone wants to add a deck to their house or remodel a bathroom, or if a contractor wants to build 1,000 homes, they're all talking to you guys.
Yeah, we would be the collection point or the starting point. The homeowner who wants to build a deck, there's a lot of handouts and information on our website. You can produce the plans and bring them down here. You can submit them electronically. We have some classes, some free classes in person that are specifically for homeowners that help teach them and walk them through the process, as it can be kind of difficult. But we are here to help. And if it's the case of that deck, then they would submit the plans. We'll review the plans, get back to them with any comments or corrections that need to be made. And then once that's complete, then we can get a permit issued and get them working on it.
And what about a contractor that's building thousands of homes?
So any contractor, the the Pikes Peak Regional Building Code has an exception for homeowners who live and reside in a house, in their own home. They can obtain any permit to work on that house. They don't need a license or anything like that. But as soon as it's not your house, then that requires a contractor license, and the contractors have to be licensed with us. We do have a very rigorous contractor licensing process because we want to make sure that those contractors are that they have proper insurance, that if workers' comp is required, that that's in place, and that they're not taking advantage of citizens in El Paso County.
And is that, I mean, how many contractors is there a set list?
You can, so for any property owner, they can go to our website, which is pprbd.org, and you can search for contractors. So you can search by discipline, whatever you like, and it's a great way to look and verify that a contractor is licensed before you start working with them or sign a contract, or what the status of their license is. I think right now we have in the neighborhood of 6,000 licensed or registered contractors.
And those can be anything from remodeling to actual straight up building, because there's quite a lot of building going on in Colorado Springs right now.
Yeah, the number of licenses that we have is pretty vast. On the building side, it ranges everything from the lower level licenses, such as a re-roof license or siding, interior remodels, all the way up to an A1 license, which is the license that would be required to build a hospital or some of the very large construction projects. But then we license mechanical contractors. We register, and there's a difference in registration and license between plumbers and electricians because they're actually licensed at the state. But we do register them locally to make sure that they have the proper insurance and meet the requirements.
And so how many staff are you overseeing, and how many people are involved in this huge project of like all the projects?
It varies from time to time, as you would imagine, but about 140 staff members is right about where we are right now.
Wow, that's quite a lot. It's
a big machine. In 2024, the total construction valuation was $3.4 billion in El Paso County. So that's $3.4 billion that the construction economy contributed to the local economy.
And how does that figure into, I mean, obviously right now there's a whole bunch of stuff going on with developments and events going before the Colorado Springs City Council and different things that happen in El Paso County. I know we've talked on Engage the Rockies podcast about the Buc-ee's and different things like this. What is your role specifically in terms of that? Just the approval?
Well, from a regional building standpoint, we're not involved in any of the entitlement phase. The zoning piece of it, the preliminary approval, whether it's Buc-ee's or some of the annexations. Mm-hmm. We get involved much closer towards the permit process where the property's been annexed or the property has been approved to build Buc-ee's. That's when the contractor or the design professionals will submit plans to our department, and then we route those plans through all of the required departments, our own departments, as well as all of the outside departments, which in the city of Colorado Springs, a new commercial plan, there's a total of, I believe, 17 different departments that those plans need to be reviewed by.
Oh, wow. Such as, just fill me in, because I'm not asking you to reel off all 17 off the top of your head, but just some of them. What would that be included?
Internally, our departments are building, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and then conveyances or elevators if there's an elevator. We also do floodplain, a floodplain review if it's in the floodplain, and fancy word for addressing enumeration. And outside departments to include city fire, city engineering, Colorado Springs utilities, health department if needed. There's a lot of pieces that have to come together to get that permit to get those plans approved for permit. But we've developed an online system to where the plans can be reviewed kind of concurrently by all the departments. So it's a big asset to our department, and locally our plan review times are much faster than any of our neighboring jurisdictions.
What would that, just to give me a, like, if you were gonna, I don't know, build an apartment complex, how long would a permitting procedure take? A year? 6 months?
Once you get through the entitlement process and once you submit the construction plans, it really kind of varies because it really depends on the quality of plans. In a perfect world, the plans that are submitted the first time get approved, but that's really not the case. So it kind of depends on how long it takes to get the revisions made. But typically, an apartment complex, it might be reasonable to say total process from start to finish in the neighborhood of 3 to 4 months.
And for a homeowner that's just remodeling their bathroom themselves?
For a homeowner that's remodeling their bathroom themselves, if a permit's required, and we'll help them with that too, they could submit those plans online and have that process completed inside of a week or 2 weeks, or they could come down, make an appointment with our plan review department, potentially the same day, and then walk out with the permit.
Wow. And so going back to building an apartment complex, or even obviously building something as big as a hospital, because that would require then the health department to get involved. What is the timeline between when we're driving around Colorado Springs as citizens and see construction workers in a building busily go up? How long before that were you involved?
The permit needs to be in place before the foundation starts. So they may be able to start some site grading and moving some dirt on the site, putting up construction fences, putting up a construction trailer. But as soon as they start placing any type of material in the hole, concrete, rebar, and whatnot, we need to have a permit in place by that time.
And in terms of, so you guys are the clearinghouse, essentially.
Yes.
So when all those other departments, you said you had an online process, when all those other departments get involved, do you then have, I don't know, managers that have a bulk of certain different kinds of things, and then they check through each of those, or how does it work?
Each department has staff that review those plans, and then once they are comfortable with the plan review or don't have any issues with it, then they will approve the plan in the system and also put a electronic stamp on the plans, and that releases those plans for permit.
So a lot of people are, and I know you don't have anything to do with the entitlement process or annexation or any of that, but a lot of people say that, oh, there's so much construction going on in Colorado Springs. What's your view on that?
There is a lot of construction going on in Colorado Springs, and really we saw a big boom in construction with COVID. One of our highest years in single family homes, over 5,000 single family homes, I believe, was 2021, right in the middle of COVID. Apartments have been very, very active as well. A lot of apartment construction, and I think that a lot of that speaks to the need for housing. Of course, we also had historically low interest rates. So when you have low interest rates, you'll see more construction and more people building a new house.
And in terms of what, so basically you're saying the lowest interest rates are what caused that to happen in the building boom. Do you think it will continue?
Well, obviously, let's see, we did over 2,800 single-family homes in 2024. So obviously that number has dropped off significantly. I think that it will be for 2025. I think it'll be roughly around that same number, the 2,800, maybe closer to 3,000 single-family homes. I think that resident or multifamily apartments and whatnot, it's already started to drop off very significantly. I think that we'll see increased activity on the single family side, maybe not so much on the multifamily side. And I think that the interest rates is probably one of the biggest parts of that. homeowners who refinanced or bought a new house at the historically low interest rates, it's kind of hard to leave a 3.5% mortgage and go up to a 6 or a 6.5 or a 7% mortgage.
Interesting. So, in terms of regional building, what is the biggest challenge that you guys face?
We face a number of challenges. One are probably one of the biggest challenges comes from legislation at the state level, where they pass new laws and ordinances or new laws that would change the building industry and how it works, and loss of local control. I'm a big proponent of local control because I believe that each municipality and jurisdiction should be able to amend and develop codes that fit their jurisdiction. One of those examples was in 2021, I believe. The state passed, it was House Bill 1362, that had a sweeping impact on energy codes. And while energy efficiency is important in construction, it drove up the cost of construction significantly. Locally, we were able to, while we opposed the bill, locally we were able to work in advance of the deadlines and adopt a code that kind of softened the blow to those energy codes, but it still had a significant impact on the cost of construction.
Wow, that's interesting. And so, in terms of region, you said you go all the way to Woodland Park,
Yes.
and you were explaining that if a homeowner needed to do remodeling or anything, that they could make an appointment. How does that work? Like, you go online and you book it, and you come. Where are you located?
Sure, we have two locations. We have, if for anybody in Woodland Park, they can go to the Woodland Park City Hall and work with some staff there. But we also have two locations: our main office at 2880 International Circle, kind of near Memorial Park, and we have a new location that we opened a couple of years ago on the north end of town at 3939 Cordero Crest, kind of near Union and Powers, near Pine Creek High School. We offer all of our services there, and homeowners can make appointments online on our website at either location and come in and speak with a plan reviewer and get any questions they have answered, get their plans reviewed, and obtain a permit in the same location.
Wow, sounds quite efficient.
We work hard to be efficient. For example, we have the lowest fees in the state of Colorado. More than half, or less than half of what other jurisdictions are. Pueblo is second, and they're very low as well. We haven't increased fees in approximately 20 years because we've been able to continue to find mechanisms to improve efficiency.
Wow, such as?
Such as all of our inspectors. We have about 63 full-time inspectors that are out doing inspections throughout the day. They're all equipped with laptops and a cellular connection so that they can pull up plans, enter inspection results real time. We have an electronic inspection process that will allow a contractor or a homeowner to submit photos for a reinspection, so it saves us a trip out to that address, and it saves us it's probably, over the time that we've had it, probably saved us in the neighborhood of 12 to 15 positions.
Wow.
So
Okay.
It's just a much more efficient process, and if you make your inspection request before 7:30, you'll get your inspection the same day you requested it.
Wow, my goodness, that is efficient. So, in terms of, like I said, you didn't necessarily want to do this as a little boy, but you seem to have flourished in this role. What are you most proud of in terms of your accomplishments in the position? Like, what thing did you change or do that's made things so much better?
That's a good question, and I don't like to create. Simple answer to that is I don't like to take credit for anything like that, because it takes an incredible staff to run this department and to be proactive. I think what I'm most proud of is the fact that I do have a staff that is open-minded, that when they see a better way to do something, they'll bring it to my attention, that they're receptive to new ideas, and that they're always looking for ways to help rather than prevent. The, the building codes can be used in two ways. They can be used to prevent anybody from ever doing anything because they're enormous books and they're full of rules, or they can be used as a tool to help somebody do what they're trying to accomplish. And fortunately, the department for a number of years, we've been on the latter, and we work to find a solution rather than a roadblock.
One other question in terms of developments and things. As I said, these are a lot of stuff is happening around El Paso, and there's a lot of questions, and I know this isn't necessarily your department, but about water rights and concerns and things like that. What is Regional Building's role in those decisions, or do you just have literally a stamp of approval from once it's been approved, you don't touch it?
That's pretty much what it is when it comes to water rights. Each jurisdiction, be it the city of Colorado Springs or El Paso County, before they entitle the property, they make sure that there are adequate water rights. We don't have a vote in that game or a stake in it. As soon as the development plan is approved, then we start seeing plans for permits.
So the utility department is just a matter of like making sure that the power is going to those places that it's supposed to, and the water is already all sorted.
Yeah, exactly. And that tap fees are paid, that there is infrastructure in place and whatnot.
And so a final question for you. You've obviously accomplished a lot, doing a lot, and it's something that's sort of hidden from, people don't know about this until they do go to make a remodel or want to buy or something like this. What would you say to average citizens in terms of their involvement and interest in like boards and getting involved politically and things like that? What would someone want to know what is going on in regional building, and why would they want to know that?
Well, why? I guess they'd have to be a little bit weird like I am. I think the most important concept that I think that general citizens should be aware of is the resources that are available on our website to check and make sure that a contractor is licensed before they sign a contract. To look at a number of the handouts, to attend some of the classes that we have. We have a great tool on our website. It's in the upper right corner. It's a public GIS map, and you can pull that up. You can set all kinds of filters and get an idea for what's happening in your neighborhood, whether it's plans or permits. You can look at how big the house is, how many bathrooms it has, and whatnot. There's a lot of resources available there. We do have a number of volunteer boards and commissions. We have monthly meetings. We have a licensing committee where we hear license requests for new contractors and complaints against contractors for violations of the licensing code. Technical committee that hears variance requests to the code. An advisory committee, which is advisory to the building commission. The building commission is made up of elected officials, and essentially they're my bosses or my board that I report to.
Wow, that's quite a lot.
There's a lot here, and it's interesting.
Absolutely. So to follow up with that, if there were a vacancy on those boards, that's listed on the county website, correct?
It could be listed on the county website or a city website, because the positions are appointed by either the city or the county or a joint appointment. There are a couple of positions open right now. They may have closed. Our boards and committees are really pretty unique because they're made up of a cross section of the building community. Depending on the board, it'll have a couple of contractors, licensed contractors, some design professionals, but each board also has a citizen at large position as well. So, we're looking for somebody there who has some knowledge in the industry, but that also represents the community.
And so again, how would people know? Is there a way to ask about that, about what positions are open at any particular time?
They could always contact us via email or phone. Those positions come open in March, or they're reappointed or appointed in March of each year. So it just depends on where each volunteer is in the term cycle.
Wonderful. Well, Roger, I have learned so much. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Engage the Rockies podcast, your go-to podcast for local and state issues concerning Colorado.